11 years ago, I uploaded my first full toy review, the SH Monsterarts Godzilla 2014. So in a way, I have SH Monsterarts to thank for my very existence. But as the years go by and the prices go up, the quality seems to have gone down. And the figures we'll be looking at today were the last straw. Hey, my name is Jobby and we're doing an SH Monsterarts Godzilla double review. Been a while since I've talked about Godzilla, or anything that's not Transformers. Hope you guys don't miss them too much in the next few weeks. First off, we're looking at the SH Monsterarts Godzilla Evolved from Godzilla Kong: The New Empire, which is the best MonsterVerse movie. After that, we're looking at the SH Monsterarts Shimo from the same movie. But before we start talking about Godzilla, I gotta tell you something that's totally not Godzilla related for legal reasons. To celebrate my 11th year on YouTube, I'm proud to introduce the Buildables JobbytheHong. They made me into a marketable building brick set. Oh my god, this is so cool. This big boy was designed in-house by Buildables with some heavy input by yours truly. I even did some draw-overs on their initial concepts, which made me feel like a big boy. And the result of our many months of secret collaboration is a design that captures the charm of your favorite mascot with the unique aesthetic of buildable sets. And of course, this thing is a blast to build, which I will be doing on my second channel, Jobby2. Subscribe, you son of a bitch. And get your Buildables JobbytheHong today through the link in the description. Pre-orders end October 12. And now we're talking about the SH Monsterarts Godzilla Evolved. Right out of this beautiful box, you get the figure, some alternate hands, and that's it. Good. Link to the figure is in the description, but you might want to hold on to your wallet because the painting and the sculpting on this figure is awesome, but not amazing. I mean, he does closely resemble his on-screen appearance, which I'm a little about. I love the woke pink spines, but not his lack of thickness. This figure captures that design pretty well, but does it really? The head sculpt, while nice, isn't exactly movie accurate. Is it just me? I understand that SH Monsterarts in general tends to take a more stylistic approach rather than being 100% movie accurate, but that just makes me wonder why you would want that. Not to mention the sloppy paint on the teeth and the eyes. Good. And that's not the only problem I have with the paint. He's just a little too green, which isn't easy, I know. Movie inaccuracy isn't necessarily a bad thing. I just prefer this design in a less saturated shade of green, bordering on gray, instead of this seaweed color. Delicious. At least the woke spines look good. Ah, shit! I was a bit critical of this shade of pink on my Just Playing stream on Jobby2. Like, comment, subscribe. Even calling it kind of gross, like the color of vomit. Delicious. And while I'm not wrong, it turns out that this dull shade of pink is movie accurate. I was unfairly expecting them to be that hot pink when he fires up his heat ray, which I'm sure will be included with the inevitable special color version. How much is that gonna cost, Bandai? 2,000? I was right before, and I'm calling it again. And I do like that you get some subtle light piping, thanks to these spines being clear plastic. The transition from skin to spine is expertly painted. Doesn't feel too abrupt. Wish they kept that up with all the pink parts. The spikes on his face and his elbows are kinda weak. Ah, shit. And while the shade of green is a bit off, it's applied really well. Always appreciate a little dry brushing to highlight those raised details. Really nice sculpting here, by the way. And other than the head being sloppily painted and a bit too small, the rest of his proportions are on point. Looks just as lanky and janky as he did in the movie. But thankfully, this figure doesn't feel janky, which... God damn it. If you could tolerate that all too common Bandai bullshit. This guy is mostly solid and fun to pose. Just like most SH Monsterarts figures, most of his joints are double ball joints, which allows him to look up, not that far, look down that far, look side to side. Every ball joint can be 3 ball jointed segments at the neck, not too shabby. But the opening mouth is shabby. That's as far as it can open. Also not a ball joint, just a normal hinge. But the tongue is on a ball joint. Ball joints at the shoulder, allows for rotation, arm moves out, bicep swivel, double bend at the elbow, ball joint at the wrist, which pops off way too easily, but it does allow you to replace those default hands with these slightly more open hands. Ball joint at the chest, moves up that far and down that far. Every ball joint can be. Ball joint at the abs where his thick belly should be, but this ball joint is weirdly limited. Takes a bit of effort to get it to crunch. Can't even swivel. Ball joint at the hips, allows for a kick, moves back barely. You get a pretty good spread. These grundle covers are free floating pieces. You could just push them them back into place. Bend at the knee, which is actually a series of ball joints, and that means you do get a calf swivel. My pursuit of knowledge continues, no matter the cost. Ball joint not quite at the ankle, and a ball joint right at the ankle. Every ball joint, of course, and that gives you a beautiful... pretty good pivot. As for the tail, at least 14 ball jointed segments, which allows for curvy natural tail poses. It would be impressive if it wasn't hanging by a freaking thread. Poseability is great. Definitely my favorite aspect of the figure. I just wish the tail wasn't so Bandai. Size comparison time. Here's Figma-matic Academy, the Godzilla vs. Kong Heat Ray Godzilla by Haya Toys, which we will be talking about a lot in the future. The Magic Square Light of Peace, not Optimus Prime. My previous review, the Kang Toys Breakhorn, and some of my previous SH Monsterarts Godzillas. And I just... SH Monsterarts doesn't hit like it used to. This isn't a bad figure at all. It's just that at that price, his various shortcomings are hard to cope with. Also, the knowledge of cheaper, more movie-accurate Godzilla figures is giving me a potentially unfair bias. But before we talk about Haya Toys, we're looking at the SH Monsterarts Shimo, a Monsterverse original kaiju, Titan, who's kind of a spoiler, you don't care. And again, this figure isn't bad at all. Just ignore the fact that there's no accessories and the price is even worse, oh my god! Zilla? Well, the only thing you do get is this alternate head for the SH Monsterarts GXK Kong, which is the exact same figure as the previously reviewed GVK Kong, so don't even ask. Also, this head sculpt's kind of shit. As for Shimo herself, the painting and the sculpting on this figure is awesome. I quite like this spiky, shivery ice dragon, and the sculpt does a good enough job at capturing her movie design. This pale paint has a pearlescent finish, which gives you these highlights of shiny purple to contrast with the blinding white. Isn't that lovely? But even then, she could have used a bit more detail. Not sculpted detail, no complaints there. I mean, the paint job could have been more realistic. You get some very subtle gradients here and there, most obvious on the belly. But at least from what I can see, there's absolutely no dry brushing or paint washes here, so she ends up looking kind of like an unfinished model kit. Which would be fine at a different price. $300. The lack of complex paintwork betrays the beautiful sculpted detail. The most complete part of the figure has to be the spines. Beautiful use of clear plastic, and the shade of pearlescent blue is convincingly icy. However, holy mother of shit, you'll drain a vein if you're not careful. These are very sharp. But the head sculpt isn't. The details get a bit muddy here. And just like Godzilla, there's something a bit off here. I think her snoot's too long. At least the paint on the tiny eyes and teeth are precise, but the inside of her mouth and nostrils are colored with this cartoonish shade of Pepto Pink. It's a bit on the nose. I've been doing this shit for way too long. There's also a noticeable seam line on her snout, which isn't something I'd normally bring up, but good! Still cheaper than the inevitable special color version that includes an ice beam, calling it again. These prices are making me lay into both of these figures a little harder than usual. But that's completely reasonable. Nope, that's not an excuse. Even at retail, both of these figures are too much. I don't like you. And at those prices, it's also reasonable to expect that this would be fun to handle. Which it is! Fucking Thagomizer. Even when an SH Monsterarts figure is mostly solid, there's always something. Why the hell are these even posable? Again, mostly everything here are ball joints. 4 ball joints at the neck allow her to look up that far. There's an additional hinge joint at the neck, which allows her to look even more up, look down that far, side to side. Every ball joint can be. And a tiny ball joint here. The hinge jointed mouth can't open that wide again. Ball jointed tongue. This back panel is on its own ball joint, a very thin one at that. Be careful. Ball joint at the shoulder, which allows for a full 360 rotation. What the fuck? It's getting tighter. Rotating it 360 locked it into place somehow? What the fuck? It's sticky. It's fucking sticky. If I rotated that too hard, it would definitely break. At least her other arm isn't fucked. yet. Bicep swivel, bend at the elbow, which are also ball joints. Ball joint at the lower arm and the wrist, which gives you a bit of an unnatural curve, but it weirdly works. Every ball joint could be. 3 ball joints for the midsection, which allows her to crunch and throw it back. Every ball joint can be some side to side. Ball joint at the hips, which hopefully don't weirdly get stuck when you rotate it. There you go. This will forever haunt me. The ball joint allows you to fake a thigh swivel. She's got a damn good spread. Bend at the knee. And again, because it's a ball joint, you do get a calf swivel. Ball joint at the ankle and the toes, which gives you a beautiful pivot. And her tail has 11 ball jointed segments, which includes this tiny circumcised tip. And that also allows for some natural curvy tail poses. Oh, fuck. Poseability here would be amazing if it weren't for some bizarre joint tolerance issues. I didn't even mention that I had to extensively loosen up her chest ball joint. Did not feel this fluid out of the box. I don't even know how I'm gonna fix the shoulder. Unbelievable amounts of Bandai bullshit. At least she's big like a kaiju figure should be. God damn, that's a huge bit. Size comparison time. Here's Modica Godzilla Prime and my previous review, the SH Monsterarts Godzilla Evolved. Also the SH Monsterarts Scar King. Who knows when I'm gonna review this guy. Maybe the same year I review Perukil. Both of these figures are not bad, but man, they're not worth their price. Is any modern SH Monsterarts Godzilla figure worth their price? I know this toy line essentially gave me my career, but I think for me, this might be the end of SH Monsterarts. Can you imagine if we had Godzilla figures that were significantly cheaper? I'm talking half off, more than half off. And despite that lower price, they were solid, articulated, and even more detailed? Can we get much higher? Don't forget to grab your buildables. JobbytheHong pre-orders end October 12. And stay tuned for that building stream on Jobby 2. And thanks for somehow putting up with me for 11 years. What the fuck are you doing?
I love you, baby.
It doesn't deserve the gluck gluck.